Hello friends, this is Terry with your Black Moon Lilith in Virgo astrology reading, and I'm here at White's Creek on a beautiful coming into fall day. We were just out harvesting elderberries. I don't know if you can see those, but Black Moon Lilith is entering the sign of Virgo, where she will be exalted. Black Moon Lilith feels right at home in her house of Virgo, and she enters on October 4th, just before that Libra solar eclipse. And I just recorded a whole video about the Libra solar eclipse, and there are so many goddesses circling around this eclipse, and the Sabian symbol is all about the mothering, cosmic mother, and the provider, and it's just such a magical fall, really. But do you know where Black Moon Lilith is in your astrology chart? This is something you can look up online. If you've had your astrology chart read, you may have a little symbol. It looks like a moon with a cross, like a Venus symbol, but with a crescent moon, so you can look for that on your astrology chart. And for the entire month of October, when you order an astrology reading with me, I'm having a sale, $88. I will include Black Moon Lilith, and I'll let you know where your Black Moon Lilith is. For me, I have Black Moon Lilith in Virgo, so this will be a Black Moon Lilith return for me, and I love the energy when Black Moon Lilith enters Virgo, because she is right at home there, and I have that in my first house of who I am, so I am definitely feeling Black Moon Lilith coming in strong, and maybe you're feeling it too. And wherever Black Moon Lilith shows up in your chart, there can be feelings related to your energetic boundaries. Black Moon Lilith is all about creating those boundaries, protection, sovereignty, and perhaps even some feelings of retribution for anyone who has crossed your boundaries. And there can even be some trauma around having your boundaries prosecuted that comes up with Black Moon Lilith when she enters Virgo. She is so powerful in her exalted form, and Juno, the goddess Juno asteroid, will also be entering Virgo along with Venus. So we have this trifecta of goddesses lining up in Virgo in a stellium in October. It's a really powerful time to be a Virgo. If you're a Virgo, you have Virgo rising, North Node, South Node in Virgo, or anywhere you have planets, whatever house your Virgo is, it's going to be lit up by this divine feminine energy, this mother archetype, matriarchal archetype of goddess energy. And if you know the story of Lilith, Lilith was Adam's first wife in the Garden of Eden before Eve. And Lilith was considered evil because Lilith would not procreate with Adam. Lilith is the primordial virgin who said, no, I'm not going to have sex with you and procreate and have a child. Because of this, she was banished from the Garden of Eden. She was kicked out of the Garden of Eden for not procreating with Adam, and for choosing not to obey Adam. She was the first woman ever to not obey a man, and she was shunned from the Bible, from everything. And for centuries, Lilith has been depicted as demonic, as evil. And there are even rumors that she was responsible for infertility, miscarriage, everything that has to do with childbirth that is bad news. There was a belief that she actually would steal the semen from men to create her own demonic spawn. And that is just totally ridiculous. These are all crazy rumors that started about Lilith after she just chose to refuse to procreate with Adam. That was her only sin, was deciding not to have a child in the Garden of Eden, for which she was kicked out of. And she really was a role model for the first ever feisty woman to just say no, right? She was independent, sovereign. I look at her, we studied Lilith in women's studies. I studied women's studies and psychology at Chico State in California, and we really studied her as one of the pioneering feminists of all time, because she was this empowered woman who stood up for her rights, who had her own boundaries, and nothing like an empowered woman standing in her power, having boundaries, to just scare the bejesus out of all of mankind. So every patriarchal society needs a female villain just like Lilith, and that is Black Moon Lilith. She's perfect for the role of the feminine villain. And she's all about women's rights to reclaim their power. So as Black Moon Lilith enters Virgo, we will see a real reclamation of power. She teaches us how to call our power back when we've been violated, when people have crossed our boundaries. And it's about sovereignty at the end of the day. The right to reign over oneself, reign supreme over your own sovereign self, and a truly self-governing state of being for all. And I can't help but think of Ukraine when I think of Black Moon Lilith exalted in Virgo, because they could really feel Black Moon Lilith struggle in this war right now. This war is so much about Ukraine being a sovereign country separate of Russia's pressures and rules and regulations. And so Black Moon Lilith in Virgo, I hope that this can empower Ukraine in this war. Black Moon Lilith is found at the farthest point of the moon's orbit, far, far distance away from the moon. And she is in the outer reaches, in the dark void. And it's funny, just as I was hiking here, I took a wrong turn. I kind of went off the trail. I didn't mean to, but have you ever been off the trail and you think that maybe it's just, if you just keep going, it's going to connect back to the trail? And I got into this deep, dark, dense forest, and I really didn't know if I was going to get back to the main trail, and I was completely lost. And I thought, this is just perfect as I'm about to talk about Black Moon Lilith and that deep dark void that feels a little bit like getting off your path. Sometimes life takes us off our path into those dark places, and we may all be experiencing this with the eclipse when it steals the sun's light. And now Black Moon Lilith, queen of the dark void, comes into this exalted divine feminine energy power along with Venus and Hera. It's a really mystical, magical time we're going into this fall, and I'm actually really excited about it. And Lilith bears the resentments of the moon's emotions. Anytime you've had a situation where you've held resentment, that is where Lilith shines the light. And if the moon is reflecting the sun's golden light and having all these emotions come forth, the moon, of course, rules over our emotions and feelings coming to the surface, then Black Moon Lilith in the darkest void is finding the even more buried, stuffed, old trauma emotions, the ones that we hide even from ourselves. That's where Black Moon Lilith will be pulling up all of the old stuff that we have not brought up to heal and we have suppressed. And I think of Black Moon Lilith as a therapist having a group therapy for misfits. That would be what Black Moon Lilith would excel at if she were here today. And now, as Black Moon Lilith enters the sign of Virgo, if you are a Virgo, you will really be feeling this. And this is the time to resolve any issues in your relationships, any old resentments that may come to the surface now from your family situations, from your childhood, who doesn't have old childhood traumas and wounds. Just like Chiron in Aries is pulling up the wounds, now Black Moon Lilith comes to find even more wounds in the deep, dark places, the places that are hidden even from ourselves. And Virgo relates to the ancient Vestal virgins and the high priestesses. These were the original vessels for the divine goddess. These women would channel the divine goddess. These powerful women who chose not to get married, who chose to remain chaste virgins, they were oracles and healers in Delphi. Like Pythia, if you've ever heard of Pythia, she served as an oracle for over 59 years for Apollo, the god Apollo, and he would not make a decision without consulting Pythia. And she was a virgin, and a Vestal virgin in Delphi, and she was an oracle and a divine high priestess healer. And she is the embodiment of Black Moon Lilith in Virgo. It's her true power when a woman has her own full divine feminine energy fully intact. She has not procreated. She has not, lost her virginity. Then all of her divine energy is within her. And she becomes a force of nature, able to conjure true magic, to see things, to know things. She's in touch with her full emotions, intuition, and inner knowing that can be channeled. And nowadays, I think that we call women spinsters when they don't have a relationship and they don't have children, and it's almost looked at negatively. But I think we should go back to this way of Delphi, where women who chose not to have a family and not procreate and not get in a relationship, they actually have this inner knowing that should be respected and honored, and they can reclaim this energy during this Black Moon Lilith time. And they should be revered in society instead of criticized as spinsters. And this is a Black Moon Lilith incarnate in your truest power to heal and to know things when you have kept your virginity intact. And I think that we will see this next generation perhaps keeping their virginity. These younger women coming up are possibly going to keep their virginity intact just a little bit longer with this Black Moon Lilith in Virgo, this energy that requires all of us. We will all be feeling it. Of course, Virgos, you're going to be feeling it the most, but we'll all be feeling it wherever Virgo shows up in your chart, and we will all be stepping into this void of darkness that feels like it might be taking us off the path, but maybe it's taking us to our true, deepest inner knowing. So once again, just like the eclipse portal, I will say trust the process, surrender to the process, and just let yourself be guided into the dark unknown, because the dark unknown is coming, whether you trust it or not this fall. And indeed, these oracles were often blindfolded. They couldn't even see, or sometimes women who were blind would go into this oracle business, and they couldn't see, but they could see everything. And Black Moon Lilith is one who can know things from the outer reaches, the shadow self, or the void, where we cast off villains and demons. We send them to the dark, but in the dark, they have this other inner knowledge that comes forth. And if the moon reflects that sun's golden light, then Black Moon Lilith is reflecting our shadow self, our deep secrets. And so see what you can see when you're in the dark. This is a time of the dream time as we go from fall into winter, and the days are already getting darker. And as we move into even greater darkness here in the northern hemisphere at least, just embrace that darkness, the dark night, as a way into your own inner sovereignty, your own inner knowing. Spend some time just meditating. Maybe light a candle in the dark and just see what comes up. What can you channel from this darkness? And Black Moon Lilith asks you to stand up for your own personal power during this transit, which is going to go for a really long time. She enters Virgo on October 4th, and she will be there all the way until July 2024. So we have some time to work with this Black Moon Lilith energy, and she's urging you to regain your personal power, reclaim your rights, and fight back for anywhere anyone has crossed your boundaries, violated you in any way. It can be even things that happen at work, or it doesn't have to always be about procreation or sex. It can be just even things that happen to just energetically cross your boundaries. And this is a time to really put that golden light of protection, that dome of protection around you, to create more energetic boundaries, to do the energy healings, energy clearings, get Reiki, do the self-care, and just really create your own personal energetic power. And I feel like there's some really great journal prompts to be found within Black Moon Lilith, in which ways, just getting out your journal and thinking about what is in the void, what is in your shadow, where do you hold resentments, when has your personal power been crossed. And you will have until July 2024 to just figure it all out. Get out the journal and do some writing around all these concepts around Black Moon Lilith. And I thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time on the full moon Taurus.